Alright, solid load here again. Today we're going to be building this battery pack. So this is project number 4 of the Electromagnetic toys. And this is what it does. So you have your generator here. Okay, you got 2 wires coming off of it. Got these little princesses, these little alligator clips. And watch. Flip it over. Let's watch the LED. Let's see. And you can flip them over again. Observe the LED. Observe what it's doing. All right. So how do we build this? So, in your baggie, you have a marble, your battery pack, 2 batteries, and 2 little alligator clips. You're also going to have some wire strippers. That's what these are. And these are meant to strip the wire. You start off with let's start off with the red one. You clip off the end of it. You're gonna get rid of this solder connection right there. And then you put this red wire, you put about half an inch of it. Let's say a whole inch actually. Put about an inch of it inside of the smallest hole in the wire strippers. Just like that. And then you don't pull straight down. You wanna pull a little sideways. Just like that. And you'll see that it'll strip this plastic off of it. It's called the insulation off of it. And you end up with this wire. You can twist this wire up just by pinching it and twisting the whole thing like that. And now you have one strand right there. And then we'll go with the black wire. The black wire doesn't have the solder at the end of it, so you can just go straight to stripping. Just like that. The same thing, you take all these strands and you make one big one just by twisting them together. Just like that. Alright, so now you grab your alligator clips and you'll notice that they have a little hole right here on the bottom next to the screw. So you grab your wire and you run it through that hole. And then you bend it over. Just like that. And you twist it. Twist it all together so it doesn't come apart. See that? Alright, let's do the other side. Just like that. You take your batteries, install them like that. So the flat end goes with the spring side, or you can see the positive and negative. Positive and negative. Okay, now that we're done with our battery pack, before we try it on this, we need to ensure that we put our resistance wire. So resistance wire is a really skinny wire like this. Hopefully you guys can see it. And it provides resistance. The way we put it on is we wrap it around one of these leads. You just wrap it 3 or 4 times. Like that. See that? And that's kind of it. This will provide, this will convert some of the power coming from the batteries into heat, which means that there'll be less coming into your system here. And by changing how much wire you use, you'll change the speed of it, and I'll demonstrate that right now. Okay, you can see there, it's not much is happening. See that? Let's flip these around and see what happens. Look at that. You can observe the light, see how it's reacting to this. When we move it closer, a little closer, really close. And I wouldn't get much closer than about an inch for two reasons. The main one is that your battery will fry your LED. So you just have a burnt out LED. And the second reason is that your resistance wire, again, it converts energy into heat, so it might overheat, and it could burn you if you put it way too close. So yeah, I would say about half an inch to an inch is the closest you can get it. So yesterday we were generating power, we were spinning this, and our LED was lighting up. So our power was making this motor into a generator, right? So it's human powered. Now today we're converting it into so we're giving it power now through batteries. And now our generator is a motor. And again, here's our power source. Instead of us cranking on it, we're giving it batteries, and now it's cranking this this bigger shaft. And same thing as yesterday, we would spin this one direction and the LED would light up, but if you go the opposite direction, nothing would happen. Right, so same thing with this. These batteries have a positive and negative side, and it does matter how you hook it up. So when I first started this video, when I first connected this, we had the black lead on the resistance wire. Now we have the red lead on the resistance wire. And let's see what happens. So the LED isn't turning on, right? Let's switch them around. There we go. Okay, so the way this thing works is that it has two shafts. There's one here and then there's this one right here. So this one right here is very tiny, it's very small, spins really fast. So for every turn, every full turn that this shaft does, this one only turns a fraction of that. You can see that there's one full turn, this thing hardly moved, right? And something in real life that you can compare this to is a bicycle. If you ever been on a multi-speed bicycle, you would notice that some gears are a little bit easier than others. So let's say you shift to a gear that's really hard to pedal, right? Like you're putting a lot of force on it, right? But it's putting a lot more force outwards, right? It's putting more force into the rear wheel. Let's say you shift into a gear where you're spinning really fast, like your front tires, your front pedals are going super duper fast. you're pedaling super duper fast, but the rear wheel is barely moving, right? That's kind of what's happening here. And then let's say again, so then you're in a bigger gear and you're barely pedaling and the rear wheel is really moving fast, right? That's like shifting gears. And so on a bicycle, the pedals are always the driver, and the rear wheel doesn't get to do that, right? On this project, on this model, we can shift it, right? So this can be the driver, but then we can switch over to the generator being the driver. So, and again, that's by putting the batteries on. So this is you switching, right? Okay, so some cool things you can do with this are, there's a few things. So check this out. Throw a marble on there and see how that reacts.
Tilt it a little bit.
You can get some markers and you can also draw on this thing. And you can change the speed. Okay, so now we can put some decorations on this or some little creatures. I'm gonna start with a cork as a base, and I like to sand the bottom and the top with some sandpaper. And that's just to make it easier to glue on, and it'll stay on a little bit longer. All of it. And this is gonna be a little twirly tower. And one of my favorite things when I was a kid was making balloon animals. So I'm gonna make a little pipe cleaner balloon animal. It's gonna be a little dog. And I know how to do this because when I was a kid, I would help out my tias and my tios. They had their own little business being party clowns. So I'd go with them and make balloon animals. And it was really fun. Look at that, little dog. All right, let's check it out. There it is. All right, so now that we have our little monitos done, we can choose the orientation of how it's gonna sit on our base. So it can be a carousel, spinning this way, or it could be a ferris wheel, just like that. You get to choose. I'm gonna make a ferris? No, carousel, sorry. So many dogs going backwards. So I'm gonna flip this thing around. Let's see. There we go. Cool. So let's talk about some safety and precautionary things. Again, to save your LED, you should never ever directly connect the lead on this side over here to the copper wire, because then there will be no resistance between the batteries and your LED, and it will blow it up. So make sure you're always on the resistance wire. Right. And then when you set this thing down and you go off to lunch or something, or when you're at home and you put it away, always make sure your battery leads are not touching, because what can happen is that these will overheat and they'll just die. The batteries will not work anymore. So you can clip the short clip onto the red one, or the short side onto the long side, just like that. And this will prevent them, for the most part, from making contact. And then we have a electromagnet that you can also mess around with. You can double the power. If you're clever enough, you can triple the power of this thing with your battery pack. Right, so you can see, you can feel, and you can test it, see how much stronger it is. Same thing with the solenoid. You can pop this off and see how much stronger your solenoid is. Yeah. So when you store all this, you want to make sure that these aren't making contact, because you'll be losing all your power if they make contact like that. So when you store them, you can kind of tuck this in here or let it hang out, but you can clip this on just like that. Clip it onto the cardboard and store it under there. And then your nail, and then the nail for your crank, you can shove it into one of these little holes right here, and you'll have a little storage area for all your projects, including your wand, just like that. Yeah.